Hey guys, Justin at Vintage 55 Restorations here. Little trivia video for you. Another common question I get is how do I tell what year my refrigerator is? The general rule is there's no general rule. Each manufacturer had different serial dating, things like that, but a lot of them didn't have anything. So with vintage cars, you can look at the VIN, you can tell what year it is, boom, done. And also there was different year changes. So you look at a certain thing, it had a certain grill, you know it's a certain year, generally. Fridges didn't have that for the most part. There wasn't yearly model changes as much as there was just kind of rollover models. You had basically different, each year you had 6 different models, sizes, and a lot of the time they had a holdover model. So like the one from a few years previously that a certain segment of the population liked, they would keep making it, and so you'd have a 36 model that's the same as a 46 model. You know, so it kind of gets confusing. But the general rule for overall stuff is that there's not an easy answer. There is for Philco and General Electric. I'll tell you those in a minute, but all the other makes and also the years outside of those 2 specific makes time frames that they covered, it's kind of a guessing game. So clues you can use. Receipts, obviously, if you find a receipt or an owner's manual with it that has a date, you nailed it. Advertisements is the biggest thing. So if you find old advertisements and it shows your thing and it says new for 56, that's probably a 56. That's the easiest way I've found to learn that kind of information. It is not widely spread as it is. It's the most common information spread right now. Service manuals, if you can find an old timer with a service manual, they usually will have a span of years and it will tell the differences, so you can see that way. Styling cues, that's another big thing. 1930s, you had 1920s, you had monitor tops, which basically had a big motor on top, usually kind of icebox latches, big clawfoot tub legs, those kind of things. That puts it in that decade. 30s, you start getting more Art Deco. This is a 30s one. You start getting Art Deco lines. They get boxier, but round still. The handles are generally vertical on those ones for some reason. Also, they would have sulfur dioxide or ammonia, not R12 yet. Freon 12 came about the end of the 30s. 1940s, you kept kind of the streamlined, but you lose the body lines and stuff. This one's a 40s model. You start getting a little sleeker looking, a little more bulbous. They also grow in size over that time. And again, that's not every fridge, every model. If you have a small one, that doesn't mean it's an earlier one. It's just more likely. As you can see on, I don't know if you guys can see it up there. There's a big ad on the wall. That's Philco's line for 56, and you can see they have 7 different models available, and they all have different handles and different types and things like that. So each year, like I said, you can have multiple things. The 50s, they start getting larger. They're definitely more round. All the edges are round. You have, I'm looking at my notes here. You start getting more gimmicks. So you get like, you know, egg trays and bacon things and lazy Susan shelves and all these weird things. That's all 50s. And then 60s, you start getting just really boxy, hard lines, a lot of the bottom freezers and a lot of slide out shelving. And then past that, generally you can find out what it is and I'll have it on there. So more styling cues that you can use, gauging clues, which are really good ones, landmark kind of anchors. Your latches, these kind of latches that have the mechanical latch. There was a law in 1956, the Refrigerator Safety Act of 1956 outlawed these and went into effect October of 58. So if you have a latch that's mechanical, it was made before October 1958. That seems like a pretty, you know, broad thing, but it is a good hard line to know, oh, it's not a 60s one, you know, because it's got that. That being said, there were from 54 to 58, like GE did have a magnetic model. There were, you know, some that weren't mechanical before that, but if it is mechanical, you know, it's pre-58. Another styling, or not styling cue, but another cue, shelving. So if you look at, like, say this one, there's no shelving on the doors. You think of it having shelving. And that's because there was a patent. The Crosley Shelvador actually had a patent for door shelving, Shelvador. And they had that patent until 1951 from 1931. So if you have a fridge and it has shelves, you know, and it's not a Crosley Shelvador, which it'll say in big old letters all over it, then you know it's newer than a 51. So if it has shelves and it's not a Shelvador, it's newer than a 51. And if it has this type of latch, you know it's newer or older than a 58. So just those two things put together, if you have a fridge with a latch and doors in the shelves, you know it's somewhere between 52 and 58, which that really narrows it down to 6 years. And so that's, you know, that's your biggest guideposts. And then specific companies. So GE did the best with tracking their cereals and stuff. They started in 1944 doing that. And they have different places. Some of them have a plate right here. This one does not. A metal tag. Some of them have a tag underneath the kick plate. They all have tags on the compressors, and then some of them have stickers. Compressor tags is a different thing. It'll say like the amount of Freon that goes in a compressor, the compressor type. A lot of fridges have a identification tag for the motor and the unit, the refrigerator unit. So you got to make sure you're not looking at a motor tag. This one, GE, has a sticker. It's just a real faint looking sticker here. And this will have a model number, LM, and then it fades out there, which you come across that kind of thing a lot. GE specifically actually tracked those. And so you can just go online and go dating a General Electric appliance, and it'll tell you. So that L corresponds to, it rotates, that corresponds to a year, which in this case is 1954. And then I think it's like 20 years or something. So it's 1954 or 1974 or 1994. You know this isn't a 70s or 90s one, so it has to be a 54. So GE's the best with that. The other one that's pretty good is Philco. Philco did it with brass or aluminum tags, and on this one you can see the aluminum tag right here, and that one will have the same thing, that you'll have a model number on it. And with those started after 1946, so post-war, and you need to make sure, again, you're not looking at the compressor tag, you're looking at the unit tag. But and that one will have like a G or an H or an L. They didn't make I because it looked like a 1, but you can also look that up online. Dating my vintage Philco refrigerator, there's a little breakdown of what each year meant on that as well. And then corresponding after that letter that designates the year, then you have your model number, which unless you have a service manual with all the different models in it that tells you, the model number isn't going to tell you anything. And those service manuals are really hard to come by. I do have a couple, but I don't have every make, every year, everything covered. But great starting point for that kind of thing. And I'll just get ahead of it right now. Please don't leave your serial numbers and stuff in the comments below and asking me to date your fridge for you. Just use the advice I gave you, and I can't respond to all the YouTube requests on that, or unfortunately, but hopefully that helped, and hopefully you could deal with all my rambling about cereals and numbers and bins, because it's a question I get asked a lot. So until next time, I guess I'll see you guys later.